everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with another Spellbinders card making video. And here we're going to focus on these two stamp sets. They had contacted me and asked literally if I wanted to play with their products. And of course you say, yes, absolutely. So these are the two stamp sets that I got. The one that I'm showing you here is actually called Toast with Jam and Bread. So absolutely adorable. And one thing that I think is great, they come with stamps. This set also comes with dies, but they also give you inspiration on the back of their packaging. The one that I'm showing here is called Flower Power, and such cute sentiments, cute dies. And what's great is there's dies that match the stamps, and then there's some that's not that you can build. So we're going to have fun playing with those. They also sent me some of their platinum packs for use with their machines, both the platinum and the contour steel rule dies. So the first one here has cork, corrugated cardboard, and balsa wood. They're 6x6, so they will fit in both the platinum 6 and also the platinum. And there's 6 pieces in there, so 2 of each. And the wood is really wood. It's awesome. And there's adhesive on the back of the cork. So the next one is that I'm showing are the adhesive sheets. There's 6 in this pack. Again, they are 6x6, and it's pretty strong adhesive. Again, they are good with both the platinum and the platinum 6, since they are 6 inches by 6 inches. The last pack that I'm showing you is actually craft foam. There's no adhesive on it. It's just literally craft foam, and it is really thick. This here is my pride and joy. Yes, I'm playing with one of the packages right now, if you can hear that. I have one of the Platinum 6 machines. Very honored to own this, or to receive this, I should say. This is a phenomenal machine. So it's very compact. These sides, they do fall down. Now, it doesn't take as long to fold them down as what I'm showing. I just know that if I flip them down, my table would shake, y'all get sick, and it's amazing. The handle contracts down into the machine. So very compact, very, very much so. And when you get this machine, you get the platform, 2 cutting plates, you get the embossing pad. You also get that awesome embossing mat. That thing is thick. It's awesome. So all of that comes when you make this purchase. Now, there is another embossing plate that's available, and that's for your 3D embossing folders. So I did grab that as well. Again, it doesn't take that long to close it up. Again, if I snapped it together, the table would have shaked, it would have rattled, it would have done all that fun stuff. So I didn't want that to get you sick, seasick. But let's start making some cards. So, of course, I pulled out my Distress Oxides. You all know, if you've seen previous videos, I am in love with my oxides. I did get the new colors, so I'm actually going to show a couple of them, such as Spun Sugar and Tumbled Glass. I pulled one of my Spellbinders die from my stash. This is deckled, and I'm using a piece of masking paper, and I die cut that out so I could have an opening. I'm working directly on my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 top folding card base. So I'm making sure that's pressed down. Now, I could have made this a little wider, but I tend to covet my masking paper. I don't like to, because I'm not quite sure how much I have of it left, so I'm very cautious. I pulled out my Tim Holtz Distress blending brushes, and that's what I'm going to use to create this background. So I'm using antique linen for the bottom, and over the antique linen, I'm going to add just a touch of walnut stain. And again, literally a touch. I don't want this to be too dark. I want them to be very pale colors for this. I'm actually using another piece of masking paper, the other side that, I don't need to worry about, just to make sure that I don't go on my card base. So now I'm going to move that to the top, and you can see the brushes, They're not the finger daubers. They're not the mini blending tools. They are not going to put a very solid color down. You can get dark shading with it. That's using other colors. But with the brushes, it just gives you a hint of color. And that's all that I was looking for when it came to this. You see the awesome magic when you pull away the masking paper. We all know how I loved, torn edges, and this die does it for me. So once that's removed, I'm going to stamp my sentiment in place, and I chose Such a Sweetie Pie. So I'm going to stamp that in the center just below the panel that I've just completed. I'm going to grab my clear embossing powder, and I want to heat set that. So I just want a little bit of gloss on the sentiment. And we're going to heat set that using my heat tool, being careful not to warp the paper too much. Remember, you can avoid a lot of warping if you make sure that you do heat your tool up for at least, I'm going to say 20 to 30 seconds. I'm impatient, so I usually can't wait that long. But trust me, if you do wait, you won't warp, or the paper won't warp. I'm grabbing my finger daubers. I do have a finger dauber for every shade of the oxides and those that are coming out. And that's what I'm going to use to color my images. That is one of the things about Spellbinders dies that I love. You can build with their dies. They do have a lot of sets like that where they're automatic shapes and you just need to add color to them. So I just chose to use my finger daubers and add my color that way. And using 2 different shades so that I could get some shading on the edges and so forth. You could watercolor a panel and then cut your images out. You can use colored pencils on a panel and then cut your pieces out, or cut them out first. Use your colored pencils to color them in. Alcohol markers, anything. It's endless. But that's what I really like about these. I love working with dies and building with them. I think you can get some really creative things. So while I was gabbing there, you can see that I did the base of the pie. Now I'm doing the pie top, and I'm using antique linen and some black, or not black soot, walnut stain again to create the top. I used some black soot and some gray on the oxides, hickory smoke, for the pan that it sits in. And now I'm going to use spun sugar, worn lipstick, barn door, and picked raspberry, and I'm going to color my hearts. So I'm just going to use, for in this case, my worn lipstick to put a solid color down. Not so much solid because I'm okay with some white showing. It's a natural highlight. And then I'm going to come in with the barn door and just go on the one side. That will help give me a blend when it comes to these 2 colors, to just put the darker on one side of the heart. I'm going to do the same thing with the other 2, but for that I'm going to use the spun sugar and the picked raspberry when it comes for those 2. So I'm going to have 2 different shades of the hearts. Same process though. I start with my light, accent with the darker. Now we get to have some fun. We grab our tweezers and we start putting glue on our pieces and adhering them right onto our panel. So of course the first piece is going to be the pie plate, and then I'm going to come in with the pie itself, and I want to make sure it just overhangs just a little bit. And then I'm going to start applying my hearts. Now I want 2 hearts to come right off of the pie, and I'm going to use my pencil. And this is a wax pencil that I'm using. It's not a white colored pencil. And I'm going to set 2 of my hearts down next to each other. And now I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put the other hearts, but I know I wanted one to go above the word pie. Even though there's a heart stamped there, I wanted to put a bigger one there just to create an accent. I believe I've chosen 2 of the places where I was going to put my other 2 hearts. You can see I'm changing my mind as I'm whisking away the glue. Still not sure, so we're continuing to whisk away the glue. So I wanted to decide to go on the other side, and then I also wanted to go off of the design panel. So again, what inspired me for this one, I was really inspired on the picture that was on the back of the packaging. They actually added the flower pot too. But theirs is similar to this, but I was inspired. I did use my Nuvo sparkle brush, my glitter brush, just to add some shimmer. And you can see that I'm starting in the light and going into the dark. The shimmer pen will activate your oxides. So you want to make sure that you do clean off your brush before you put it away or you're changing colors. You can see I got carried away with my shimmer brush. Not a problem. I'm just going to cover it up with my white gel pen. That is a godsend. That was our first card. So let's make our second card. Again, I'm using that stamp set with the toaster. And again, it is called Toast with Jam and Bread. So I've already die cut the pieces. I try to save some time. So I've die cut the 2 pieces of toast and I've die cut the oven. Now what's really cool, and I stamped that and I got that right on. Usually I'm crooked. Now what's great with the toaster, there's a slit on the top where I can put the toast in. So I thought that was really cool. Their dies are also very interactive, meaning you can emboss with them or they have little cutouts in them. So they're really very interesting. I'm using the sentiment for this one, Toast to the Happy Couple. I thought it was cute. It was a cute pun. I put that on some black scrap cardstock and I used my white pigment ink and my white embossing powder and I heat set that. To save some time, I did use my alcohol markers to color in my toaster, and I did use the walnut stain and antique linen to color my pieces of toast, and we added 2 cute little smiley faces to them. I used the cork from one of my packs, and this is an old steel die that I have called Tag You're It from Spellbinders. I am a tag person. I love making tags. Wait till we get to Christmas. You're going to see a lot of tags. I just love making them. So with this, when I cut this out, I not only did I get the tag. Now remember, the cork actually has adhesive on the other side of it already. But this die will also cut out the ring protector. So I cut that, and I'm just using my alcohol marker to make that just a different shade of brown, but making sure I'm taking off some of the ink so that it's not still wet. I'm going to play around with some of my placement. I've removed the protective backing on the ring, on the whole protector, and set that in place. And now I'm going to set my 2 little pieces of toast. But I wanted to pull in, now did you think we were going to get a video without vintage photo? Please, come on. Had to pull that out because I wanted my edges of my toast to be a little bit darker. So I added some vintage photo, and I even went in with my finger dauber with the black soot that was left over, just to give it a hint, just to make them stand out a little more. Since my 2 pieces of toast are in place, I'm going to use some foam squares to set them up and prop them up because I want them to sit on the tag. And I really like working with the cork. It cut very well. Now again, it is a steel rule die, so they are awesome. They go through a lot of thick material and multiple layers of material. I do own a lot of them. I do like them. So they take up space, but I still like them. So I put my foam squares on the back. I use my vintage photo around my tag. And now I'm just going to set everything in place. I believe this is where I'm going to put the toaster. It is going to change, trust me. I pulled some twine from my stash, having a problem tying it around the hole on the tag because me and twine and ribbon, we just don't get along. I cannot work it like everybody else can. I removed the protective backing on the back of the tag, and I'm going to set that in place. And it's right about here where I'm like, oh, my toaster's crooked. So we're going to real quick pull that up. We're okay. No destruction there. And we're going to make sure that it's sitting straight on the card. Looking at where I want to place the tassel, because I do want that to hang down the card. I don't want to cut that up close. But first I want to set my sentiment in place, and I'm going to prop that up using some foam squares. And what I'm actually going to do is pin the twine. This is actually hemp cord. I buy the big roll in the jewelry section. I'm actually going to trap, once I have this straight, my twine coming off my tag up underneath. Of course, I determine that after I have it set in place and pushed it down, but I just want that to go underneath the sentiment. So I have my little toast going above it, and I have my tag string going behind it. I'm not going to let you painfully watch me try to tie a knot in the end of this string. So for the video, or the magic of video editing, we can just get our glue dots and put the knot down onto the card. And then we're just going to trim those edges just so that they're more onto the card base. I grabbed my white gel pen again, and I'm just going to add some accents to the corners of my toaster, and I'm going to add 3 dots for each of the little cheeks on my pieces of toast. I'm going to trim off the edge of my sentiment because I almost forgot to do that. And that completes our second card. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's always fun just to play around with some products, and when you're asked to do so, who can say no to that? If you did like this video, please hit the thumbs up. You can see some close-ups of the cards that we made today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I do try to answer each and every question. If I should miss it, oh, ask it again. It could be because I just missed it or it got lost in my queue, but I will get back to you as soon as I can. All the products that I used in this video will be linked down below in my video description. Again, if I should miss something, okay, I'm human. It happens, and it happens regularly. But if you see me using something and I don't have it linked, let me know in the comments, and I'll get that link for you and get that updated in my video description. I hope everyone is having a great week. I hope you're getting ready for the weekend. I hope it's a good one for you. But always remember, everybody, what's most important to me, always, each and every day, be creative.